Whenever you are at work or in some of your personal relationships, you may experience that kind of painful situation where people don't really let you speak and you have great ideas, great things to share, but they keep undervaluing your skills, your talents, and your opinions. And as a result, you may retreat more and more into your shell, trying to appear invisible, while never clearly mentioning what you truly think or truly want to say. And some people then unfortunately keep going through life like this, pretending things are okay, whereas they are just surrounded by people they don't connect with, who don't really appreciate their value as a human being. And that is why I think the skill of being able to debate eloquently in a smart way is of huge importance right now, because it is a tool you can use to free yourself from the mental control of overly controlling, oppressive people who try to make you fit into a world you don't belong to or a worldview you don't belong to. And you can even use it to challenge your own thoughts about what you think has been limiting you so far. Or why do you think that you are stuck in your life situation, whereas maybe you're not at all. But before getting on the specific language patterns you can use to make amends with somebody, find some compromise, control the frame easily, or even shut somebody down when you need so. Before going there, the main reason why most people I have seen struggle debating or being able to control the frame in a heated debate, it is mostly because they can't control their emotions, or they haven't, should I say, completely processed the main reason why they got triggered in response to a specific topic inside the debate. They try to rush to make a point without letting their opponent speak, without letting the other person say out loud all the things they wanted to say, and as a result somebody else tries to shut them down too, which never really works. So it first mostly comes down to investigating in yourself, why does that topic, the thing you are debating, why does that topic really matter to you? Why haven't you been completely free mentally and emotionally in regard to that topic? Why does it bother you so much that other people think differently than you? Why is it impossible to just let them have their own frame of mind, their own opinions, desires, and you having yours? Why, first of all, if they try to prevent you from having yours, then we have to get into frame control, and that is the topic of this video. But if it is just them having their opinions and you trying to attack them non-stop, why do you need to attack them, first of all? Because some debates are just not worth pursuing or getting into, and some debates are things that you have initiated even without knowing it. If that is the case, why did you do so? Why does that topic of conversation trigger you so much? Once you have unveiled and free yourself from that emotional knot maybe, then you can debate much more easily, no matter who is in front of you and no matter what the topic is into the conversation. Then for the actual language patterns that will be of great use whenever you want to control the frame because the conversation is kind of getting heated and you have trouble slipping a word in because the person might not let you finish, then I would say to first interrupt their trail of thoughts with the open loop technique contained in the pattern interrupt section in my book. And you might say in that regard, I disagree with you for 2 reasons. Or 3 reasons, or whatever the number you use. It is the ordinal number presupposition in the Milton model. Basically, you open a loop by explaining you are going to mention 3 different things or just 2 different things, and until you have finished enumerating the last one, usually the conscious mind of the person you are interacting with is waiting silently because the conscious mind can't stand not knowing what's going to happen. If you presuppose they are going to agree with you or you are going to reveal something that will prove them wrong, but you just don't say yet what it is, then it makes them shut down their mind at least for a few seconds, which allows you some free space, some room to continue the conversation in your best interest. Then the second one, therefore, is to point out to all the things they say, as all the rule says, pacing and leading, you enumerate all the things that they said so far about what should be done in this situation, or about what you should do yourself in your life, or about what should be done in the company if it is at work. And you say, from all the things you have said, this and this and this, if we just apply all of them, then negative consequence, you point out to something negative in the future, the company is going to lose money, I am going to end up in a terrible situation if I do all the things you say I should do. Just point out in a purely neutral, logical way the negative consequences that will arise in the future if you follow blindly all of the things they say we should follow. So that is the first of the two reasons, but remember, we have said earlier there were two reasons why we disagree. That is only the first one. So if you stay polite, neutral, and have a calm tone of voice while enumerating those negative consequences, the person is more likely to let you finish and process the next one, which is the third language pattern here. And my intention, Robert, or whatever the name is, and my intention, and I'm sure you want the same thing, is to, and then you talk about anything positive. Because in any debate, in any conflict, people always presuppose they are the good guy. I presuppose I am the good guy, you presuppose you are the good guy. Even if we have some disagreement, I think I am on the right side, you think you are on the right side. So in the end, nobody is really the bad guy, even if Hollywood and social media like to pretend that in the world you have the good guys and the bad guys. But deep down, you don't really have what is right and wrong, you just have divergent interest, like any competent lawyer will tell you. It is only that my interests don't always align with yours, therefore we may have a disagreement. But until you completely realize that my intention deep down is positive, you will always try to fight against me. Same thing with you. If I don't realize fully how your intention is positive, then I will always try to fight with you. So how can we align the positive intentions we both have? At least I can enumerate what is mine. And once I have enumerated what my positive intention is, it will be at least less likely that the person fight against me. That might still happen, but that is decreasing the propensity of them arguing with me, because now they know not all the things I talk about are inherently negative. And from there you have a nice way of reframing the whole conversation. And to add one last one, a fourth language pattern, if you really want to close that argument, and if the person has been silent enough so far and didn't interrupt you as you were explaining all of those things, you might add into the alternative view, that's why I suggest instead we should this, and that. So there you point out to an alternative outcome, different from what the person you were debating with was proposing. That person was proposing we should do this in the company, or this in the family, or this in the friendship, or this in the relationship, if it is your husband or wife, I don't know. Then you just say, instead, I propose we can X, Y, Z, whatever else you want to propose. You give your own interpretation of what could be or should be done in that situation. The fact of having twisted their mind all around that model in different categories makes it less and less and less likely for them to resist. First of all, because the more information get inserted into the conversation, the less likely the person is to negate all of your points, especially if you have researched through them and gave quite interesting points. The person is less and less likely to react emotionally to all of them, and that is also kind of an induction by confusion, if you know the hypnotic terms, because when you give too much information, the person is less and less likely to resist what you have to say at the end. So in all of this, the main goal is to give the last language pattern, the last proposition. I disagree with you, therefore I want this instead. But if you go too fast into that direction, if you go too fast into enumerating why you are wrong and why I am right, because I want to do this, that is going way too fast. Whereas if you lead their mind one step at a time into all of those categories or any other, then their mind will be more likely to follow you one step at a time and to build a frame of mind, the frame you have imposed in that situation, to follow you into the frame you have built through all of your language patterns, instead of just trying to resist by maintaining their frame, which might be extremely toxic in that environment. And if you want to finally be able to control the frame in any difficult situation and become much more confident in heated conversations with obnoxious individuals, you can find a method down below that will teach you how to always remain in control of any conversation in 3 simple phases. It will first show you how to process any difficult feeling or emotion you hold about the situation, and then how to redirect those emotions and feelings during the exchange so that you always keep the lead in the interaction at work with your colleagues and with the people you've had trouble communicating with in your life. You will definitely experience more freedom in your relationships, and you may even earn more respect from your boss or any person who did not take you seriously over the past few years. This is called a frame control mastery. You can use it in a debate or even in some conflicting relationships. So whenever you have to be more confident and stand up for yourself in some important life situation? That is down below if you want to check that out. Waiting for this. Thanks a lot for watching, always means a lot to me, and see you again in the next video. Goodbye.